welcome Tina Sadrangani to the community conversation of Larchmont and the Mamaroneck Community Media. I'm Michael Witch for LMC Media, and Tina, if I may call you that,
Sure.
Welcome. And you're the president of the board of directors of Larchmont Friends of Families. This is an organization that I've never heard of, and I've been in the community for maybe 40 years. Is that deliberate that you'd like to be sort of under the radar?
Yes. Well, thank you so much for having us. And thank you for that question. You know, one of the things that Larchmont Friends of the Family does is our main purpose is helping families who are faced with either a medical crisis, a serious illness, or the sudden passing away of either a parent or child in our community, find normalcy and stability during really difficult times. And one of the things we pride ourselves on is doing this work anonymously and confidentially. So what we do is when we are referred a family who maybe, for example, they have, God forbid, a child that's been diagnosed with cancer or a parent that passed away unexpectedly, when families with dependent children in our community are referred to us, the first thing we do is we reach out and we share with them that we are not going to tell anybody. Nobody will ever know. Even if your neighbor who referred us will never know if we helped you unless you choose to tell them. But we send people in the services that we provide, the support we provide, it is all anonymous and confidential. And that has been something that we've prided ourselves on for the last 20 years, is delivering all the support that good neighbors do in a non-intrusive way. The detrimental aspect of that is that many of us people have not heard about us and they don't know about us. And so we always really want people to know that we are a resource that's available in this community. We've been here for 20 years, and we will always sort of do the work we do with great pride, but with also great privacy and confidentiality.
The name Larchmont Friends of Family, is it discreet just to Larchmont?
That is another great question. So 20 years ago, this organization was founded by two amazing women, Kathy Stout and Mary Stein, with the help of other really forward-thinking people. And the goal was, at this point, it was just a very small group of neighbors who themselves had experienced illness in their families and in their own lives. And they really saw in that time how uplifting the help of good neighbors was. So they were a small group that just really wanted to formalize that support of good neighbors. So maybe it was, there was a sick mother in a class and their child needed school supplies. And so they just filled their backpack and made sure that their child got to school. And over time, as many of us know, with serious illness, the needs of families just became greater. And they decided to start really what we think of as a community fund. And because there was only a few of them who were just kind, compassionate, mission-driven people, they kept it small to people who lived in Larchmont or had strong ties to the community. Actually, a sort of thing that people don't really know about us is that back in 2016, when I had recently just moved to Larchmont, the organization was on the verge of closing down. And the reason for that was because the leadership, their kids had grown, they were no longer in the school system. These people weren't really as intimately involved in town. And so there weren't really many referrals coming. The sort of new generation of families had never heard of Larchmont Friends of the Family. And so what happened was they knew there was a need, there's always a need, but they weren't getting any referrals. And so we had a young group of people who moved here who were excited to engage in this work and sort of joined and took over various tasks. We were actually, the funny story is that we were all part of a Larchmont newcomers play group. And one of the young women in our group, her mother was on the board of Larchmont Friends of the Family, still is. And she connected us and we all thought it was a great organization. But what we found was that they had, in that year where they were thinking about closing and decided to spend down their assets, they decided to expand their reach to the full school district community, where there is tremendous need. And they thought, since they had the money that wasn't being spent, it was best to just use it. And then the idea was that they would close down. Of course, when I first did my first case with this organization, I realized how profound that need is across our community and how, whether you are extremely wealthy or whether you are just getting by, it doesn't matter. Illness really takes a toll on your family and you have needs. Those needs might be different. So I was very committed to making sure that the scope of our reach as an organization extends not just to Larchmont, even though that's our name because it's been that name for 20 years, but it extends to Mamaroneck, to our full school district, to families with dependent children that live in this area. And we really want people to know that just because our name is Larchmont Friends of the Family doesn't mean that we don't service a significant part of this community. And over 65% of our funds in the past few years have gone to families in Mamaroneck. So we want our neighbors to know that because it's important that we have full support for the whole community and people know that this resource is available to them.
Now, speaking of money, I found out about your organization because I saw a notice that you were beginning a campaign. It's called $100 to $100,000.
Right.
This is in lieu of an annual gala that you use as a fundraiser. So let's talk about that campaign.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
So this campaign is very exciting for us. As we were the last few years, since 2018 or so, we've been trying to raise awareness about what we do in this community. And so for a few years pre-COVID, we were able to have a wonderful gala where we heard from families that we had helped. We brought our neighbors together to celebrate truly the work of good neighbors and what a unique and extraordinary community we live in that enables this type of organization to exist. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, we have not been able to have that event. And the need as a result of the pandemic has been extraordinary. Not only have we helped families who have lost a loved one due to COVID, but we've also seen an uptick in cancer diagnoses that are delayed because people weren't able to seek care. And so the amount of support we're giving out as a result of the pandemic and due to the fact that we've expanded our reach and catchment area means that our budgetary needs are greater. So our event used to bring in close to $100,000, which enabled a year of our support to families. And so this year we've, in lieu of that, with sort of Delta and all, not everyone fully vaccinated just yet, we decided to have this 100 to 100,000 campaign. And our goal was to find 100 families in our community to donate $1,000 each to get us to this operating budget. Now, for everyone watching, I just want them to know that any amount is impactful. We pride ourselves on having a very low overhead cost. Our overhead cost is virtually nothing, but for an insurance policy that we have to pay for. So literally every single dollar we raise goes to families who need it in their darkest times. And that's something we're very proud of. But we really wanted we have several families who we really want to help lead us and solidify our place in this community. And so that's what the 100 to 100,000 campaign is really about. And the one exciting thing that you may not have picked up on just yet is the fact that for all families who donate $1,000 by December 1st, they will be involved in a planting project and recognized as part of a planting project in Addison Park in Larchmont, to celebrate the fact that they are neighbors who have helped us grow, quote unquote, pardon the pun, our mission. So donations by December 1st will help be recognized as part of a planting project. But this campaign is bigger. It's not just our operating budget. It's about getting new families to get involved with us, to engage with us, to help us solidify our positioning in this community and to continue doing this work.
So for people who want to donate, do they go to the website?
Yeah, they can definitely go to visit our website at www.larchmontfriendsofthefamily.org. On that website, there's a direct link to our campaign platform, which is hosted by GiveSmart, and they will be able to click on that and directly donate on that site. There's also an option to mail a check if they prefer that, but we want people to know that any amount they donate is truly impactful, but we really want to get to our goal of $100,000. And the other thing we recently announced on social media today, Michael, that I'm not sure you're aware of, is that we have a wonderful family in town, longtime residents of Larchmont, Michael and Valerie Puglisi, who are also longtime supporters of Larchmont Friends of the Family, who have agreed generously to serve as our angel donors. And they have agreed that once we get to $50,000 of funds raised, they will match all subsequent donations up to $25,000.
Wow.
So they will help us get to that goal. So we really want to encourage people to help us get to this $50,000 number, so that because the Puglisi family has generously agreed to support us the rest of the way. So,
well, I just want to mention you're an excellent spokesperson for this organization. I know, well, you told me that your background is in health. I just want to let you give a shout out to your board of directors.
My board of directors is outstanding, and they have been fabulous mentors. While this is not my full-time job and strictly a volunteer position, I have really felt like some of the best professional mentors I've had have existed on our board. We are fortunate to have Dr. Cynthia Yalowitz, who is a physician locally, Dr. Mark Levy, who oversees the Community Counseling Center. We have Gerald Hoffman, who helped us bridge to this next generation and that Newcomers Club playgroup, as well as Mary Stein, who is one of our founders of this organization and remains very much involved. We have many others who do this work. We have wonderful officers who are mostly young parents, busy juggling a pandemic and young children who devote their time tirelessly to this organization. And for that, I'm extremely grateful.
Well, I want to thank you, Tina Sadrangani, the president of the Larchmont Friends of the Family, for taking a few minutes with us today on Community Conversations. And at this season of Thanksgiving, I hope that everybody will give thanks for your organization and contribute to it, and that you'll reach your goal sooner than you think.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate it.